Recently, there are several high-tech companies announced that they are going to allow employees to work from home permanently, even after COVID-19. Today, I want to explore how it's going to have impact on the real estate market. First, let's look at the details of Facebook work from home announcement details. Mark Zuckerberg recently announced that in the next 5 to 10 years, they would allow up to 50% of Facebook's workers to work remotely. And however, there are a lot of requirements. Few requirements are they need to be experienced, and the workers who apply to work from home need to have strong recent job performance. They also need to be part of a team that's supporting remote work, and their group leader need to approve it. So not everybody can satisfy all these requirements. And again, it's going to be a pretty longer term change. It's in the next 5 to 10 years. So that's important to bear in mind when you are making judgment of how it's going to have impact on the market. Facebook also did a recent employee survey. About 20% of workers were extremely or very interested in moving to full-time remote work after virus-related restrictions are lifted. Another 20% was somewhat interested. Majority prefer flexibility with some remote and some in-office work. So again, it's not large portion. Majority of people still prefer to go to office from time to time. And Mark Zuckerberg also cautioned that this is going to be a decade away to fully implement or realize this new policy. Twitter and Square are managed by one CEO, so they announced that they would allow people to work remotely from home permanently even after COVID-19. However, their size is relatively small compared with Facebook. Facebook has 45,000 employees right now, and Twitter has only about 5,000 employees with about roughly 1,000 based in San Francisco. Square are around 3,000 employees, I think around probably 500 employees in San Francisco. So their employees have the choice to keep working remotely even as office reopen. And it does say that policy applies to all employees who can do their jobs from home. If for some security personnel or facilities personnel that they have to come in, then they cannot work from home. So I checked some office lease by Twitter and Square. Twitter has no plans to reduce its office footprint in San Francisco. Square has signed a lease agreement a few years ago, and their lease is going to run through September 2023, so another 3 years to go. In addition to the high-tech companies, what about other large corporations? So here are the recent survey done by CoreNet. CoreNet is a nonprofit association that represents more than 11,000 executives in 50 countries, which are strategically responsible for the real estate assets of large corporations. So CoreNet recent survey shows 69% of corporate real estate professionals said their company will take up less real estate after spending time working from home. And this is the survey released on April 27th, quite recent. And compared with about a month earlier, the percentage increased. A month earlier, it's only 51%. So this is a survey of large corporations' real estate professional. Next, an interesting survey to show you is the survey of CFOs recently done by Gartner. Gartner is a research company. They surveyed 314 chief financial officers, and 74% of these CFOs said that they plan to downsize the number of people that came into the office each day. Before the pandemic, around 10% of workers that could do remote work did so full-time, and additional 20% did remote work at least some of the time. And the survey recent CFO surveys indicate the number for the full-time increased to 19%, and for the remote work some of the time increased to 29%. I want to look back in 2013 all the way to 2017 because it's not new that companies allow their employees to work from home as a benefit. Back in 2013, actually, after allowing employees to work from home for some time, Yahoo's then new CEO, Marissa Mayer, after she joined Yahoo, he issued a ban to ban employees working from home back in 2013. And 2017, IBM, and as another example, joined Yahoo to eliminate completely the remote work policy from their business model. And back in 2017, the Gallup survey already showed that 40% of employees reported working remotely in 2016. That's a increase from 39% back in 2012. So these are really not completely new. Working from home is gaining momentum, but it happened before. And also, some companies realize it's not fitting for their company culture or their company business model, as you can see the example for Yahoo and IBM. So this time, what is the difference? I think compared with back in a few years ago, the technology is more developed to enable high-tech companies to work from home. For example, you have video conference very easily to be done, and you have cloud service and better bandwidth to accommodate faster internet, better security software. This all make company feel more comfortable and be more capable manage their employees remotely. The next thing is, given this current pandemic, a lot of companies has to implement working from home measure very quickly in a short time period. This helped them to realize that it's actually doable, and as a result, they also observe the productivity level was maintained pretty well by employees. It gave them more confidence to do so and to allow more employees working from home. And their mentality also changed after this experiment forced by the pandemic. However, I think it's also depending on the nature of the work. For example, software company seems more lean toward moving a little bit faster to allow company working from home permanently, while other companies such as Apple, who has a lot of hardware business, they are actually planning to have employees to return to work in phases over a few months. NVIDIA, which is also more on the hardware side, have not had any long-term plan to let employees to work from home. Google, I haven't heard from Google yet. When I'm doing research, I actually found out back in 2017, there's already the articles and voice on how working from home may impact the future of real estate. I had a link here for you so you can read yourself and see how much is actually being true in today's real estate market compared with what was described in that article back in 2017. So how this is going to have impact on real estate? Now, before the pandemic, before all this focus on working from home, in San Francisco Bay Area, for every 5 people move in, there's only 1 house is available. So as you can see, it's a big shortage of housing availability for people come to Bay Area and the Silicon Valley. Now, with this increased numbers of working from home, I can see that it may have first impacted the rent. So the people who rent in the house are less tied into their locality. They can make decision fast, so they can just change and stop the lease quickly, especially for the residential part. Given in San Francisco area, the rental is very high. It's pretty much the highest in the whole United States. For 1-bedroom rent is going above $3,500. And the other thing is, if companies give less offers to newly graduates or hire less new workers that come to San Francisco Bay Area, then you tend to see the demand for rent is going to decrease, because usually when people move into a new area, they tend to rent first. So I think it's going to have, if you observe how it's going to impact, I think it's going to first start on the rent, the rent probably is not going to go higher that fast and that much. On the commercial side, I think office lease space probably will change a little slower. At the start of 2020, San Francisco's office space market is being the hottest in the entire country, and it's even more occupied hot compared with New York. So, however, the lease is not going to change that fast on the commercial lease side, so it will be a little bit slower compared with the residential lease. Office lease. There are a lot of different views regarding how this is going to impact office lease. For example, the Nortel CEO think that office occupancy will permanently hover around 60%. That is a pretty big change compared with the current occupancy ratio. On the other hand, Translucent New York co-founder and partner has a totally different view. She thinks that eventually when people feel safe, they will come back to office and the occupancy ratio will rise again. And major office landlords, some major office landlords have asserted that they don't expect a long-term demand job, regardless of the service, we just showed you before from the CFOs and from the real estate professionals for large corporations. The next thing is demand may also change in terms of what type of office layout is going to be. Used to be, as of what pandemic happened before, open space layout, WeWork style kind of open space layout is getting momentum and becoming popular in a lot of high-tech companies. Given the pandemic, that kind of office layout could be completely changed. A lot of companies actually probably need to remodel their office to accommodate for a safer policy, allow the workers to come back to the office. As of now, it's about 1/3 of U.S. office workers are working at home, and the office landlords, we see they have some pressure on the rent side because since the beginning of April, 354 office and apartment mortgage payers have missed payments on $7.1 billion. That's per most recent Wall Street Journal reports, and that's compared with $4.2 billion in missed payments in February and March for the same property type. As you can see, this is going to really have a lot of pressure on the landlord side. However, the landlord who owns those office space is not planning to offer discount very deep yet. Sellers are currently willing to offer discounts of about 5% compared with pre-pandemic prices, while the real estate, the people who's buying the real estate for office lease, it's looking to want to get 20% off. So this is very similar to residential side, that you have seller and a buyer has a different, different reaction to all these new recent development in the market. So economists, based upon the most recent trend, they had some prediction that they predicted that post-pandemic housing preference may move away from dense metropolitan areas due to the virus and more lenient work-from-home situations. On the other hand, the amount of space desired by home shoppers will also shift. Zillow actually predicts that larger homes, especially those with extra rooms or office space, will have more high demand. The suburban real estate that has a close proximity to large metropolitan center may be more desirable compared with the metropolitan center large cities. On the other hand, the shift to living further away from metropolitan area is not going to make rural areas more desirable, because there could be a lot of other ramification if you move to a very rural areas. So how this is going to have impact on you? I think you really need to look at your own situation, how working from home is going to have impact on your career. Will that impact your career development, your promotional path? And also, it's going to enable the company to have more talent pool to apply for the same job that you are doing, how it's going to impact your job security. So I think these are going to have impact on your own decision of whether you would ended up working from home or not. Once you have that sorted out, that could have impact or have helped you to decide if you want to wait and hold, or if you want to just buy right now. If you think that your career will not be impacted and then you are going to be the person who has the bargaining power or who can be eligible per your company's policy to work from home, and you prefer to change to a different environment, then I think you probably need to hold. If you already stay here for quite a few years in Bay Area and you really like the lifestyle here, you like the sunshine, you like the beautiful weather here, and you like the dynamics here, and you also are the type that you prefer to go to work home because you could really meet people in person. And before the pandemic, the company offered free food, a lot of other perks to people who are on-site in office. Maybe they will have a different format of offering certain perks for those people who go on to work in the office. So if you are the type that you want to just work, not to be too far away from your office space, I think rather than paying very high rent, and you might want to take advantage of the current low interest rate and current market that allow you to be able to choose the right home for you. So if you want to discuss further about your personal scenario, just give me a ring, set up appointment with me. You can either email me or call me to make appointment, and we can discuss further to see what will be the best option for you. So that's all for today. I will talk to you next time about other newly impacted, newly developed market change.